Raven. Alright, alright, alright. What is going on? What's going on? What is going on? What's going on? What is going on?
Y'all jamming right here live on Hot Hits Radio, the hottest radio show online. We have an artist in the building, and she been harassing me, y'all. So I had to do this interview today, y'all. So she talking about she gonna come here, to Tennessee, and I can't explain. I might incriminate her on the radio, so I'm not even gonna say everything that she did. Okay, but she gonna introduce herself on here. You there, young lady? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Like every blue moon, I'm hearing you.
Okay. Is it good now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. You didn't hear all that stuff I was saying about you, did
Yeah, I heard that part. They ain't cut you out on that one.
I mean, my fault. I mean, nah, she ain't do none of that, y'all. She ain't do none of that. So go ahead and introduce yourself for me, young lady.
Well, my name is Artemis Raven, and I'm from Miami, Florida. Most people categorize me as R&B, soul singer, / a little hip hop, but I do it all pretty much. So I really don't have a genre. I touch anything as long as it, I can feel it. So.
You do hip hop too?
Yeah, I get, I get some bars here and there when I feel like it.
Also, we got to categorize you in like 7 categories then.
Yeah, I'm like the female prince, so, I just got a select few instruments I know how to play. That's about it. But you get.
You know how to play some instruments too?
I can play the drums, and.
I'm going to have to put you in on something like, hey, I need drum beat right here. You add that in there, but I need, 16 beat.
You gonna get a tap on a snare and a little foot, the bass drum. That's about it. With a few strings.
Well, tell us what you got going on, young lady.
What I got going on? Well, right now, I just completed one of my little projects. It's a 5 EP or whatever, but it's geared towards women that's been broken. So I kind of plan on taking that music and going out to like domestic violence shelters and things like that, just to encourage my women folk that's been, abused and battered, some of them molested, things like that. I just want to reach out.
Okay, what's the title of the album? Or have you had a title yet? You got a title yet?
Yeah, it's called Woman. Woman, and it got a subtitle. It's called I Refuse to Be Broken.
Okay, all right, I like that. Now,
Thank you.
Now I gotta ask you this: since you're making that title like that, or have you been a victim?
I've been a victim of a few things, bad relationships, because the EP is hitting on stuff like that, like, bad relationships is hitting on people that, I know a lot of people that suffer with breast cancer and lupus, so I got the title song that's about that.
Okay, I got you. I ain't mean have I know you be beating people up, so I know you, 'cause I'm kind of scared, but I mean, the people just always think like, domestic violence. Well, it ain't always physical abuse. It could be mental abuse. You know what I mean? It ain't always the physical thing that, people always think it's physical, but it's not always a physical thing.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, because I did a Stop the Violence event, and people was like, what kind of violence? I'm like, okay, all violence. Because
exactly.
I was talking about domestic violence and child abuse, gun violence, because, gun violence isn't the only thing that we're suffering from. It's a lot of other abuse also.
That's very true.
So what are your shows? You have any shows coming up, or tour, or anything like that in the works?
Not right now. I kind of took a little break from that. I'm focusing strictly on just going out and, getting involved with nonprofit organizations and giving back to the community. So I've been doing that. But I recently had, finished up some shows between like the last part of June, getting to the early part of July, whatever. I did a lot of stuff as promo. But right now I'm just kind of, getting ready to just go in the back. I call it the backwoods and just get the music out there.
Right. Okay. Just doing a little marketing, a little.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Is there any specific organizations that you've already worked with yet?
I would say, well, I would give it American Cancer Society. I've done work for them before in the past. I worked with them. I worked with Greater Junior Achievement, Greater Miami, where you go out to the schools, and I would volunteer as a teacher and teach the kids about business finance
Okay.
and things
All
like that. Recently, matter of fact, I went with a security service that's down here, LSGMP Protective Services, and we did a book bag giveaway. One of them was planned, the other one, it was a surprise, so we went out to the inner city youth and just surprised them with book bags.
Okay, all right, that's cool. So you out here making some moves. I guess you okay. I guess you alright. At first I was kind of iffy, but.
You can't be iffy. You gotta.
So what other cities did you leave go any other cities when you did the shows, or was it just local things you just started with?
It was just local state, but I would say that mile drive, those mileages from my car are so different, you know what I'm saying? Because the shows would be like maybe an hour away from where I stay or things like that. One of them was 2 hours away. So it's still basically almost like traveling out of town just in your own state. Because, Florida, we got quite a bit of cities in Florida.
Right, Miami is a nice one. I want to move to Florida. It ain't just Miami. I want to move to Florida. It's just I hate the cold. So, I say either Cali or Florida. I need to be there because I can't stand being cold. So what's the music scene like you say you're in Miami, right?
Yes.
What is that music scene like? Is it like overwhelming, or what is it like there?
Hey, what it's like here, man? I would say we got a lot of great talent out of Miami here. I mean, I went to one show and I actually was shocked. I was like, wait, where y'all came from? 'Cause I didn't know we had that many people that's really out there. They trying to grind, but because I would say the market is just so oversaturated right now,
right.
It's just kind of hard to stick out in that because everybody wants to do music. And I give it to them. We got a lot of talented artists here.
And you all probably have all different kinds of, being in Miami, all different kinds of genres there also that's good.
Probably so. Most of the people out here, they normally want to just do hip hop,
Okay.
But now I'm starting to get out there and get into like fashion and stuff like that. So I'm meeting a lot of people like in rock. That's really my favorite genre to be, I love the guitar. So I've been kind of sticking around with rock people, like, hey, I'll sing some vocals for you, just play that guitar behind me.
So have you ever thought about, I ain't thought about, have you performed with a live band, or you just now doing, off the, just playing the single through the DJ?
Just right now singing through DJ, I would love, and I said that's one of my dreams, though, to really play with a live band, because I like that old, authentic feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you get hyped, the band hyped behind you, and you can put on an amazing show. It's nothing like being on the CD and you scared that CD gonna scratch on you. But I don't have no problem with it because I can actually sing. So you could take the auto tune off and I'm gonna still blow. So.
What artists would you like to do a collab with? I mean, whether they could be local or mainstream, it don't matter. Just put some names out there for us.
Matter of fact, I got to give a shout out to my boy. Matter of fact, we just did a duet because, Artemis really don't do features. Right. But I actually featured him because, we had this whole gun violence thing going on with the Black Lives Matter. And so I constructed the song. I asked him his name, his Music Gang Ty. A young gentleman coming up, good rapper. I put him on that track, and that track is doing pretty good as well. Okay. And it's called I Don't Want to Die. And he really, he really surprised me because I was like, I don't like working with people, but he came through and he showed out. And that's one thing you want to do as an artist, put people on your track that's going to make it sound even better.
Right, exactly. And, then, with collabing and stuff like that, I always tell the artists, get with somebody that's going to push the track. You know what I mean? People just out here doing collabs, and which is cool because you're networking with them, but you still want to actually get some kind of promo or marketing out of the track when you do it. You know, you don't want to work because if you don't do that, it's like you're working for nothing.
That's very true. And you have to get some artists to listen to you on that. Yeah, that's why I really don't do features. Like, I mean, back in the days, I did it when I was really like starting it, trying to break it. But now, when I step back, I watch things and research. I'm like, because then you got legal obligations too. So I always tell people, like, if you're gonna work with me, you also have to be established and know the other ropes. It's not all about recording.
Right, right. That's what a lot of them think it's all about, is just staying in the studio and making 85 mixtapes. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, at least have a goal. If you have a goal, I mean, whether it's a small goal or a big goal for you, just for you for instance, you know, not saying this to you, but just say you have your EP out and you're like, okay, I'm not going to make another one until I reach 50,000 hits or 50,000 views. You know what I mean? They need to set a goal for your album or mixtape or whatever you pushing. Because why would I make a album and, you know, I only had 10 people check it out? Why am I going to album number 2? You know what I mean? And that's just confusing.
Exactly.
You know, they going to album number or mixtape number 2. Why am I going to that? And I didn't even do good on the first one. You know, so that's just some things, you know, artists need to, I think that's something they need to work on, you know. Just a little knowledge for them out there, the ones that's listening.
Yeah, I totally agree, you know.
Now, what are a few of the goals that you have completed for this year and want to complete for this year?
Oh, okay, I would say one of the goals I completed, I'm finally getting the EP together. I finally got one together. I mean, I got a catalog of music because I got music written since like 2009, 8, 7, and now I'm just now sitting down and say, okay, what songs do I have that I want to put out? Because I've been getting a lot of fans like, okay, I want to have this, but I'm not doing it. I'm going to shows. They hear the music, they're like, oh, okay, where can I get it at? Right. You know, I've learned my mistakes from not being able to give my potential fans something to take with them. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the goals. So now I got that out the way. But my other goals would be to put out another EP. I have a lot of music, but the next EP is probably going to be geared towards my fellas. You know, I got one for the women, that's for us, you know, we want to be empowered. Then I want something for the fellas because, you know what I'm saying, I got to let the men know, hey, it's women out here, we appreciate y'all. I know we kind of, I can't use the cuss word, but I just say we could be a little cat crazy sometimes. You know, I do appreciate the men that do put up with us cat crazy women. You know what I'm saying? So I want to do an EP for that. And then the next EP project is going to be, then I have a third one out, which is going to be basically, it's going to be like an album. Where actually have a concept, it's going to be love, it's going to be rock. You know, you're going to get the feeling of when you listen to the song, you're going to have a wedding song on there. You're going to have you're going to have your little explicit stuff too, you know what I'm saying? You got to set the mood right. So it's like an R&B type of vibe.
Okay. All right. I got an idea for you also. Now, I want 10% commission for this, okay?
Okay, well, yeah, I can't say okay. I don't do verbal agreements. This is the state of Florida, I mean.
What you do is make a Christmas album.
Okay.
And you can, I guess, I don't know how much they'll, you know, because, you know, some people remake them. And there are some you can remake without even have to pay any fees, you know, or you could just come up with your own Christmas album. And that way, every year, you have an album that you can push around Christmas time that you've already invested in, and you can push it for years and years and years, and you never have to make another Christmas album.
I mean, that's a good idea. I never thought about it like this. I swear that this case is living off that Silent Night. Every year I be waiting. That's my song. I wait for the stations to play that.
Right, and then you know what I mean. So if you can get into some music, because you know it's the people supporting you, and think as the years go on, you're building your fan base up, and someone might like, oh, I didn't know she had a Christmas album. You know, and they buy your Christmas album. Like Michael Jackson made one Christmas album when he was a teenager. That's the only one he's ever made, and people still buying it and still listening to it. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, he had to try to remember Mike for who he was, you know what I'm saying? Confidence in that song. You know, you can't never forget that. You getting whooped in the middle of the studio or something with that one. I don't know. But I appreciate that, Joe Jackson. You whipped him to the king of pop.
Right. Well, what do you like to do in your leisure time when you're not doing music?
I like to write. Like, if I'm not songwriting, I just like to write like fictional stuff, things like that. That might be a goal too, to kind of just become an author in a way. Okay. You know, I like to write. I love reading because I'm very nosy, so I like to read up on stuff.
You say you nosy.
I'm very nosy.
There aren't too many women that are not nosy. They act like they not, but there are not too many women that don't try to find out what's going on.
I have to admit that I'm so nosy that I'm one of the women that have a compact mirror looking the other way just to check out what's going on behind me, you know.
So that's cool. What are your plans for this weekend? Any plans for this weekend?
Let me see, what this weekend? Man, they getting ready to go back to school next Monday, you know, the kids. So my weekend most likely finna be with these haircuts. Haircut and may take my son somewhere, you know, just for that last day.
Right.
Okay. Get it all out, because when we start back to our old schedule again.
Right. I got you. So what this track, What's Going On? Now, you know, when I first seen the title, I was like, I think of Marvin Gaye. You know Marvin Gaye when I first heard it. And then I started listening to the lyrics, and I was like, oh, man, made me, it hit me a little bit. I like that. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, I was digging that. I even bought it. I'm like, man, I purchased it off of Google Play.
Oh, thank you. That's what I'm glad to hear right there, the word purchase.
So see, I liked it that much when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy this track. I like this, And I do that with a lot of people. I don't tell everybody, because then they start trying to get me to buy them all the time, So,
I understand that. Like, it's a one shot right here, one shot deal. Just take it.
Right, you know what I mean. But a lot of I mostly purchase a lot of R&B, not too much hip hop, because there's so much hip hop out there. But when I do hear a good singer, I will. Like when your album come out, I'll be checking it out, and I'll be like, oh, okay, wait a minute, is she dogging me in on that one? No, I can't.
I gotta feel it on too. I gotta feel it. I gotta feel everything.
We was cool.
That's about being an artist. You can't be scared to touch certain subjects. I touch every subject I could possibly think about, because we all go through something.
Oh yeah,
that's
we
the point of reality.
We do, but I like that. What's going on? I'm gonna play that after the interview. Well, shoot out the social networks and everything so people can check you out. And please spell your name, because some people don't, know how to.
Yeah, they'll be up there spelling all type of ways. I can't find you because you ain't spelled it right.
Exactly.
But they can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Is the same username at I am Artemis, ARTEMIS, Raven, RAVEN. I hope they all spell Raven, but I spelled it wrong. Facebook, I got a little Facebook page. I don't really be working it too much because I just stay on Twitter and Instagram. Those are my babies right there. But Facebook, they can find me Artemis Raven Music.
Okay. All right, cool. We're going to introduce this track for us, young lady. Then we're going to let you carry on with your day.
All right, y'all listening to me. I'm your girl Artemis Raven, and y'all finna listen to What's Going On. It's a song that I wrote because here in Miami, Florida, we had a lot of killings of our young youth, and it hit me personally because one of the kids that got killed was a nephew of a friend I used to play basketball with growing up, and then my son and his friends, they just got blessed, a bullet came through the window on them, and they was able to duck and run out. And so that's kind of like how that song came about. Matter of fact, I wrote it on the day Prince died, which was irony, but that was right. I wrote it jogging, while I was jogging. And that's before we heard the news that Prince died, and I was just singing the chorus. Like, the chorus came to me, and I wrote the verse. and I went through the track down that same day. And it came out the way it did. And, you know, when the part where you hear me sing, that's actually was all freestyle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I had to feel it out, you know, I had to feel it.
All right. Here y'all go. It's What's Going On by Artemis Raymond. I'm sorry. Artemis Raven right here on
It's
Hot Hits.
Artemis Raven.
Artemis Raven, right?
Yes.
I just mixed up the M and the V. My fault. My fault. See how she is, y'all? Hey, yeah, she got a lot of anger issues. No, I'm just no, I'm just messing with you. But y'all jamming right here on Hot Hits Radio, the hottest radio show online. This is What's Going On by Artemis Raven right here on Hot Hits Radio.
Artemis Raven.